who would like to have this information, again, we'll be happy to share that those links with you. Okay. All right. So let's start with just a general overview of PAsmart. So what is PAsmart? PAsmart is an initiative that just started this year. Governor Wolf proposed the initiative as a new strategic approach to education and workforce development. The initiative is designed to address the feedback that Pennsylvanians shared with the Middle Class Task Force last fall. And the goal is to better align education, workforce, and economic development initiatives and funding. By working in a smarter, more coordinated way, PAsmart is intended to make public programs and initiatives more accessible and easier to navigate, so Pennsylvanians can develop the skills and abilities they need to obtain quality jobs, and businesses can recruit and retain skilled workers. On the slide, you'll see that PAsmart, again, is a new strategic approach to education and workforce development. And we're doing this by investing in initiatives to support economic growth, education, and training opportunities, strategic coordination and alignment of public programs, services, and funding. We want to transform interagency, cross-sector collaboration to enhance resources. And the goal is to create better outcomes for our students, workers, businesses, and communities. As part of the PAsmart initiative, the 2018 state enacted budget included more than $30 million for strategic, competitive, and cross-sector investments focused on meeting the education and workforce development needs of students, workers, employers, and communities across Pennsylvania, including those disconnected from education and workforce. Funding will support a variety of projects, but should be data-driven, align with and leverage existing initiatives and resources, and lead to a measurable impact. On your screen, you'll see how the PA grant funding has been distributed to state agencies. PDE received $20 million to support workforce development opportunities that include computer science and STEM education. Then we have $7 million that has been distributed for apprenticeships and pre-apprenticeships through the Department of Labor and Industry, and nearly additional $5 million that the PA Department of Labor and Industry received for next generation industry partnerships. If you would like more information on any of these PAsmart grant initiatives, please visit the website on your screen. So, as I mentioned, the Pennsylvania Department of Education is the agency that has been tasked with distributing the grant money that pertains to computer science and STEM education. And the purpose of these programs is to address the larger gaps in computer science and STEM offerings across the state and expand access and equity of access by providing more computer science and STEM education experiences to students. So the way that this is being done is that there are two different grant opportunities available. The first are called the targeted grants, and these are structured to meet the needs of local education agencies and their schools that have zero or very few computer science offerings of any kind. These grants have a low-risk entry point for applicants and are intended to help applicants build the infrastructure to apply for advancing grants in the future. On the other side, then, we have advancing grants, which are high-level comprehensive grants meant to support entities that have 50 or more students participating in computer science and STEM experiences. The purpose of advancing grants is to give regions a chance to leverage or expand computer science and STEM ecosystems. So today we're going to be talking specifically about the targeted grants. And I will mention quickly that just a little bit ago, we had a similar webinar for folks who are interested in the advancing grants. That, just like this webinar, was recorded and will be posted online in the upcoming days. So targeted grants. As we mentioned, targeted grants are intended to help LEAs with zero or very few computer science offerings get started with introducing these types of programs or offerings in their schools. The grants are divided into two phases. So even though you'll be submitting one application, there will be two parts. The first part is phase one. For phase one, we are asking that LEAs identify teams of educators, which mean at least 4 educators, to attend professional development during the spring or summer of 2019. This professional development is intended to help them learn how to incorporate computer science standards into their classrooms. Then for phase 2, we will have, and this is following this training, we will allow LEAs to apply or request additional funding to purchase supports and additional professional development so that their educators can actually implement what they've learned and offer regular computer science programming in the schools. So who is eligible to apply? So for the targeted grants, only LEAs are eligible to apply for this funding. An LEA is defined as a school district, a charter school, an intermediate unit, or a career technical center. Only one application may be submitted per LEA. However, the application may include educators from more than one school within the LEA. So for instance, if you wanted to have a team of educators where maybe one teacher is from an elementary school, one is from a middle school, one is from a high school, and maybe the 4th person is an administrator, that would be an acceptable team. All 4 educators do not have to come from one school. We are suggesting that you select the team members that can increase your ability to provide computer science offerings in your schools and to increase access, specifically to underrepresented and or historically underrepresented students. So what is in the current application? The current application is, and we say it's intended for phase 1. However, to be considered for any of the phases, this is the application that you will need to submit. And the way that it is written, it is intended to be accessible to LEAs without the need for a grant writer. Also, we're asking for educators with no computer science experience to apply because, again, the entire program is designed to provide that introductory professional development to those educators. Because of the way that the application is designed, we think that it will probably only take you about 30 minutes to complete. Part of the application process is that you will be required to provide the current status of computer science programming or course offerings in your schools. So we just want to have an overview of at what level are you offering computer science currently. We would need to know who your team members are, as well as what their availability is for this type of these different types of professional development, and then confirm that all educators will agree to implement computer science programming immediately after training. And what we mean by that is if the training is occurring in the spring and summer, there would be an expectation that these educators then would be implementing what they learned beginning in the 2019-20 school year. So as with any application, it's always nice if you can have a little checklist or you have a starting point. And so what we recommend is that before you even start filling out the application, identify your teams of educators. As I said, all educators from all grades, K-12 are welcome, and no previous computer science experience is required. Consider what type of professional development team members are needed. If you're considering an alternative provider, you'll need to collect information about the provider offerings and make sure that they meet PDE's professional development criteria. You'll notice we're going to be talking about professional development in a little bit, but we have a pre-approved list of professional development opportunities. That's what this is referring to, though, is you may select from those opportunities, or you would be able to propose an alternative provider that may meet your needs. And then finally, decide which dates work best for the team to attend the workshop. You will be asked to provide a date range in the application. Ask your school administrator, so this could be a principal, a superintendent, for a signed letter of support stating they will provide release time for you and the other educators to meet the obligations of this grant. Or do one better, get your administrator to attend too. You can review relevant grant information at the website on your screen, and then start drafting your application based on the questions. Because you can only submit the application once, we highly recommend that you draft your answers in a separate document and then copy and paste into the application portal. So I was mentioning about the different professional development options. You will see 4 different options here on your screen. Code.org, Apple Everyone Can Code, CS First, Beauty and Joy of Computing. These are all available through PDE and the 2 intermediate units in Pittsburgh and out towards Philadelphia. You are welcome to participate in these workshops at no cost, or as we mentioned, you also can propose alternative programming, and we do provide a criteria for what that programming would need to meet in order for it to qualify and be approved by PDE. But these links here on your screen, as well as the links in the request for proposals, can take you to the websites for these different organizations and these different types of professional development. So if you wanted to take a look and figure out what type of professional development your educators would be interested in, it would be highly advised so that you can select the appropriate training in advance. As I mentioned, you can propose alternative computer science workshops. In order to do this, you would need to fill out a separate form and then upload it as part of your application. Alternative workshops approved for grant funding must meet criteria in the following categories: access and equity of access, training capacity, and content. And again, more information is in the appendix of the request for proposal. So what funding is available? LEAs may receive a maximum of $35,000 of targeted grant funding. Up to $10,500 can be used to support educators who are participating in the computer science training. That funding could be used to cover staff time to participate in grant activities, reimbursement costs incurred for the participation and replacement for educators, as well as certification exams if applicable. Up to $24,500 may be used to purchase eligible hardware, products, and additional training to implement computer science education in the classroom. Priorities. Funding priorities for the targeted grants are as follows. We'll be looking for proposals that demonstrate the greatest ability to increase access and equity to computer science and STEM education. Proposals should present, or we'll also be looking, to present the highest need for computer science STEM programming. There would be a focus on training and professional development for teachers in grades K to 8 so that we can support early awareness of computer science and STEM in our schools. And priority consideration also will be given to teams of educators from diverse grade levels and/or that include at least one administrator from the LEA. So that was a quick overview of the targeted grant program. If you have questions, we'll take a moment here. Please feel free to enter them in the chat. We also are bringing up our screen right now so that we can see what those questions are and we can hopefully answer them for you live.